everyone, here we are at the Nürburgring, and what a surprise, we've got sunny skies and sunshine. Here in the Eifel, you never know in regards to the weather. Obviously this weekend it's all about championship points, because at the end of this weekend we will know who will be the halftime champion. But it's not only about collecting points, it's also about the systems of tomorrow, and lucky me, I was allowed to test it.
The DTM, a synonym for exciting race action that has electrified motorsport fans for years. But the DTM is more than just a racing series, especially for Scheffler, because this is where work is done on the mobility of tomorrow. The automotive supplier is using the racing platform to further develop its space drive steer-by-wire technology.
At the end, it's like you have no mechanical steering column anymore. It's like everything is going by wire. You have like a steering wheel which gives all the feedback of the steering angle down to the engine, which is moving the steering. Yeah, that's it.
A special technology that has already been used in the DTM, and with success. In 2021, Maximilian Buch finished third in his high-tech AMG at the Nürburgring, thus ensuring the first space drive podium in the history of the motorsport series. This season, Scheffler comes into every race weekend with a special race cab. With every lap, ex-Formula 1 driver Markus Winkelhock collects the most important raw material for further development: data.
I'm the first driver which have driven the space drive system in a race car on a racetrack. And I'm kind of doing all the development stuff for the steering system, for the space drive system. We have a joystick in the car. Between the trucks and through the paddock, we go with the joystick. And all the people sitting next to me are like, oh wow. And then it's quite interesting how they realize what kind of technology we have.
TV presenter Verena Vriet wanted to know exactly how this innovative driving concept feels in a race car on track, as a co-driver from the front row.
Well, I'm very, very excited, because now I'm about to do a taxi ride with Markus Winkelhock at the Nürburgring, and we all know how exciting Nürburgring can be, so I'm a little nervous, a little shaky, but I'm really looking forward to it.
3 laps of the Nürburgring with a full professional at the wheel. Here we go.
To be honest, I think it was even crazier than I expected. It was very forceful, it was very exciting. It was at times I thought, oh my God, he's not going to make it, but he did. And also the car, the technology, the system was just really incredible, because I thought it might feel differently, but it didn't at all. It just felt like normal racing. It was insane.
The foundations of the mobility of the future have long been laid. The goal of safe, autonomous driving is not far off. A technological revolution that has already arrived in the DTM. The fourth weekend of DTM brings us to the Nürburgring, using the 3.6-kilometre long sprint version of the circuit. Last year, drama as Mirko Bortolotti and Kelvin van der Linde came together in the battle for a podium position. Bortolotti dropping to the back of the field. The day before, after a fog delay, he had gone for the lead of the race and had it coming together on a damp track with Felipe Fraga's Ferrari. Bortolotti's championship charge coming unhinged. Sheldon van der Linde went past him and went on to pick up a race victory and made history when his brother Kelvin came home in second place, the first brothers ever to finish first and second in a DTM race. There's always plenty of drama here and always questionable weather in the Eifel region. For now, sunny-ish skies and light clouds and no rain, but a 66% chance of some rain about half an hour into the race. So the car's gridded up. There are tens of thousands of people here to support the DTM racing, and they are in for an absolute treat here, because we've got a very interesting looking grid. Kelvin van der Linde with his best qualifying so far this season, starting in 4th place, looking for his first podium since he finished second here 12 months ago. Always very popular with the fans, and his teammate Ricardo Feller managing to qualify alongside him on the second row of the grid. 3rd place for Feller, one of 6 different race winners that we've already had in the first 6 races of the season. And Nürburgring race winner Thomas Preining is on the front row.
And I'm here with Thomas Preining, the leader of the championship, and you're starting in P2, so obviously your main goal is probably to win and to extend the lead, right?
Yeah, for sure. I think winning is going to be tough. Mirko was super quick in quali, and you know, I mean, it's never easy to beat him, but I think if we can get a solid result today, also calculating we have 20 kilos extra, so I think it's going to be tricky, but we will do our best as always, and we should have a good race.
Qualifying ahead of him, though, Mirko Bortolotti setting a new qualifying lap record. Along the way, the Italian is the one to beat here at the Nürburgring.
And the man who's a pole setter is Mirko Bortolotti. So, Mirko, what can you do in order to turn your pole position into a win, the first win of the season?
Well, have a good race and try to keep everyone behind me, basically. That's what we have to do in order to finish at the top. I think we've done a great start. We have had a great start to the weekend yesterday and managed to turn the good work into a great result this morning.
So the scene is set for the first race of the weekend here at the Nürburgring. After 7 qualifying sessions this year, we've had 7 different pole sitters. Mirko Bortolotti then starting on the front row ahead of Thomas Preining, Ricardo Feller and Kelvin van der Linde on row 2. Jack Aitken and Front Pereira on row 3. Dennis Olsen and Lucas Auer on the 4th row of the grid. And then René Rast and Marco Wittmann, the best of the BMWs, line up on row 5. Patrick Niederhauser and Lauren Heinrich are on row 6. David Schumacher with a 5-place grid penalty will drop back from 13th position. Thierry Vermeulen, Clemens Schmidt and then Sheldon van der Linde way back in the middle of the grid, the driver second in the championship standings. And we've got Sandro Holtzen making his DTM debut, who starts 26th in the second Project 1 BMW, teammate to Marco Wittmann. And also newcomer to the grid this season is Max Paul in the Grasser Racing Team Lamborghini, taking over from Mick Wieshofer for this weekend. He made his debut in the DTM in 2021 at the Red Bull Ring. Chris Hartley to talk you through the race action then for the first race of the weekend here at the Nürburgring. The red lights come on, the rolling start about to get underway. The pole sitter to the left of your picture and alongside him the championship leader Thomas Preining as we go green here at the Nürburgring. It's a good start for Bortolotti, a good start to the left of the picture as well for the blue Audi of Ricardo Feller. His teammate Kelvin van der Linde coming alongside around the outside, but he gets tagged from behind by Front Pereira in the Lamborghini and sent into a spin, and he's going to tumble all the way down to the very back of the field. Kelvin van der Linde cannot buy any good luck so far this season. So the battle for second continues because Ricardo Feller hasn't got that position yet. He's fully alongside and now behind the driver that leads the championship standings, the Porsche of Thomas Preining, remaining just about in second place behind Bortolotti. Then it's Feller in third. Lucas Auer has gained positions. He's gone from 8th to 4th. That incident between Front Pereira and Kelvin van der Linde is going to be investigated by the stewards. Kelvin van der Linde, hopefully with not too much damage to the car because it was a big hit. Can he now come back from the very tail end of the field, having had his best qualifying of the year so far? So the leader, Mirko Bortolotti, takes them down through the second sector, heading flat out now through turn 8, uphill towards the Vidal chicane. There is Sheldon van der Linde in the red Schubert BMW trying to come from 15th on the grid, qualified 16th, gained 1 position when David Schumacher had a 5-place grid penalty as a result of a coming together at turn 1 in the second race at the Nürburgring last time out. So very lively first lap of the race, but a perfect first lap for Mirko Bortolotti. He's going to take the SSR Performance Lamborghini over the line as the early race leader, but his teammate Front Pereira under investigation by the stewards for that lap 1 incident.
For me it's just a really bad day. I got a hit from the start, you know, and then I braked too late and I couldn't avoid Kelvin, so I'm really sorry.
Replays then of that turn 1 incident. It was a big hit, wasn't it, onto the back of the Audi. It's amazing, really. He didn't have big damage to the car because the rear wheels of the number 3 Audi R8 were lifted clean off the ground. This is from Jack Aitken's perspective from 5th on the grid. Look to the left of the picture there, and the Lamborghini underneath, actually, the rear of the Audi, lifting it clean off the tarmac. This was from Thomas Preining's perspective. Looking back, there was the hit. He was surrounded by the Abt Sportsline Audis at the time, Thomas Preining. This is looking back at Thierry Vermeulen, who's looking for his best finish so far in DTM. He's already been a points finisher. And there, confirmation on the screen, a penalty lap. 3 times he's got to serve the run through the penalty box at 50 kilometres an hour from Pereira for that coming together with Kelvin van der Linde. That's going to cost him about 5 seconds each time. The penalty box is marked out on the exit to turn 1. He has to run through that at 50k. He's going to lose about 15 seconds as a result. On board and on the attack with Sheldon van der Linde on the way into the chicane, and he just about squeezes past Franck Pereira. So the big BMW M4 gains another place here. Thierry Vermeulen going with him. You've got Clement Schmidt in the action on board with David Schumacher, who's in the middle of that group as well. They've all filed their way past the Lamborghini of Franck Pereira, who's had a bit of a nightmare corner there, and of course has got to serve this penalty as well. It's still side by side. Ahead as well with Sheldon van der Linde and Thierry Vermeulen, who's trying to get a second place here, and spring an attack on the way into turn 1, which drops downhill. Out wide goes the BMW, but that will give Sheldon van der Linde the inside line into turn 2, and he might just be able to get that place covered off. On board with Sheldon now. The reigning champion makes a little bit of light contact with Thierry Vermeulen, but he holds onto the place, and then it is the number 19 Lamborghini trying to get in on the action of Max Paul in his first race since the Red Bull Ring 2 years ago. So he's getting stuck in the action there, concentrating on racing in the GT Open Championship this year, Max Paul, but dream for him to come and have a go in the DTM. He might be able to do some more races this year as well, and who knows going forward whether we can see him on a more regular basis. Right on board with David Schumacher then, trying to come back from this grid penalty. It's a big battle that's going on in the midfield here. Looking back from the Mercedes, and he's now running wheel to wheel with Thierry Vermeulen and Luca Stolz as well in the yellow HRT Mercedes. Luca got his maiden race victory here in the DTM 12 months ago. He gets up the inside of his brand mate. The two Mercedes run together into turn 4. There's contact and into a spin. I'm afraid goes Luca Stolz.
Lukas Stolz decided to overtake me, which was fine, but then into the next corner I was next to his door and he didn't leave me any space, so it came to contact mid-corner. Yeah, I was as tight as I possibly could, but to be honest, I'm very disappointed in the ADAC. It was the third time now, in my eyes, giving me a penalty for something that was not my fault.
So Mirko Bortolotti leads the way, extends his advantage to nearly 3 seconds over Thomas Preining. Ricardo Feller in third. Lucas Auer just falling away a little bit now in 4th place. Further back, up to 11th position now for Sheldon van der Linde. His next target is teammate in the blue Schubert BMW, René Rast, who's up to 7th place in the championship now after a brace of second place finishes at the Norris Ring last time out. René Rast 7th in the championship despite only doing 4 of the 6 races so far. He missed the Zandvoort weekend when he was competing in the Formula E Championship. Right, Feller has come back here a little bit at Preining. He lost a bit of time in the previous 2 laps, but he gained a 10th on the last lap, and he's on the attack again here in this battle for second place. Looking back then from Thomas Preining. Ricardo Feller in his 2nd season of the DTM, looking very much to be a championship contender. In fact, both of them are. These 2 young guns have then got Lucas Auer behind them, the driver that was 2nd in last year's championship.
Training in sector 2, start training.
Copy Mirko, copy Mirko. It's only a slight shower, keep me informed.
Interesting. Mirko Bortolotti, the race leader, reporting to his race engineer that rain has begun to fall at the back of the circuit. It's only very light at the moment, but this could be the start of a really important phase of the race. Race control have declared it a wet race, so you're free to go on wet tyres now. The pit window is open. It opens in the middle 20 minutes of the race. You have to change your tyres during that period, but you hang fire now and wait just in case it starts to rain. The last thing you want to do is come in, change your tyres, put new Pirelli slick tyres on, then it gets wet, and then you've got to come in and make a second stop and change to wet tyres. So I think they might push it out now. One thing is for sure, the teams have got those wet Pirelli tyres at the ready, but for now it's not wet enough to consider using them. It is, though, going to be becoming very tricky on the slick tyres. Well, there's Kelvin van der Linde starting to work his way back through the order. He's into 14th place now. Impressive this. He was stone last at the end of the first lap. He's on the tail of Maro Engel, who is in fact, both of them are former Nürburgring 24-hour race winners. And big carnage down there in the gravel trap. That's Christian Engelhardt and Ayenjan Nguyen, who have both had a massive shunt by the looks of things. And Ayenjan there looks a bit winded and a bit dazed. That looks like a huge impact. Hopefully he's okay, and look at that, the back of the car is completely exposed. The engine bay has taken a hit, the suspension has taken a hit, the rear wing is halfway detached, and that looks like a biggie, and I'm sure it's all because of this rain which has now begun to fall a little bit more consistently. And the full course yellows come out now, so everybody has to reduce their speed because of this big accident we got at turn 1. So the safety team comes out. You can see more and more specks of rain on the camera lens, and this surely is going to be the signal to everybody now to come in and make their mandatory pit stop. But the question is, do you go for more slick tyres and hope that the shower is going to pass, or do you think it's going to get worse, in which case you might go for the wets? Well, Thomas Preining is sticking with slick tyres. Mirko Bortolotti is doing exactly the same. He's going to stick with the slick tyres here. You change the rears first, then you change the fronts. He's dropped off the jacks, and the SSR Performance team release him out onto the circuit. SSR Performance in their second full season in DTM. They ran Porsches last year. They're running Lamborghinis this year. Out go the top two. And it's good to see that Abt Sportsline there, the Turkish driver on the left, and the German Christian Engelhardt on the right are both okay after what was a big impact. Here's a replay. Let's see what happened. And Engelhardt lost it on the way into turn 1 on the wet grass. Then the car skids backwards and right into the side of the Q's Team 75 car of Abt Sportsline, who was just in the wrong place at the wrong time there. Incredibly unlucky. And that was a high velocity impact at turn 1. You can see bits of Porsche scattered everywhere like an explosion has gone off. This is on board with Abt Sportsline, and then you can see, look there, the white Christian Engelhardt top sport car coming towards him. Bang! Big impact there. Absolutely nothing either of them could do about that. And I'm sure it was because of those greasy conditions. On board with Abt Sportsline now, getting a replay of this. Wait for the impact. Oh, a huge one. He releases the steering wheel, which whips around. If you're not careful, you can damage your wrist and thumbs on that. So the racing driver's always taught to release the steering wheel straight away. But he was definitely winded by that. And Christian Engelhardt has gone over to say, are you okay, Abt Sportsline? Sorry about that. There was nothing I could do. A big crash, a big impact, but testament to the strength of these DTM cars.
I don't know what happened. We have to look at it. I just saw he got out of the car, so seems to be okay. Of course, it's a shame, especially with 2 Porsches involved. But we have to see what happened. Looked like he lost the car on the entry to turn 1, but more I don't know yet. So we will see after the race when we have some more information about it.
And you can see from these pictures that rainfall has got more consistent and heavier. What's left of the Porsche of Abt Sportsline is being towed away. And also in is David Schumacher. So Schumacher in, possibly with damage from that coming together with Lukas Stolz. He was down the back of the field anyway, having to serve 3 runs through the penalty box. So that's 3 races running now, including the 2 at the Norris Ring, where David Schumacher has suffered a penalty for incidents out on track. Now this is replay of Alessio Deleda going off the road, just smoking the tyres. Been in the pits, so on cold tyres, I think, struggling for grip in these greasy conditions. Straight on, he's gone, and the car is well and truly stuck in the gravel. Alessio's okay, but more yellows at turn 1 now, with his Lamborghini parked up against the barrier in what's becoming a very tricky phase of the race. And indeed, a full course yellow has now been converted into a full safety car period. So the advantage that Mirko Bortolotti had is now going to be completely wiped out. They're all going to be right back onto the tail of the race leader. Right, we're about to get things back underway. Who is behind Mirko Bortolotti? 1 lap down, that's right. His teammate from Pereira, who's holding everybody else up here, doing his teammate a massive favour. They can't overtake till they get to the start-finish line. And so a big gap now for Bortolotti, and a huge scrap about to get underway for second place here. Preining has got Feller, and then Lucas Auer on the attack. And Auer's got past Feller. He's gone from 4th up to 3rd. He's trying to be in second place now. He's alongside the championship leader. The Mercedes has got the inside line as well through the left-hander at turn 2. And Lucas Auer is never going to give that one up, surely. Thomas Preining will fight as hard as he can, but Lucas Auer is not going to let the place back. He's gone from 4th to 2nd on the restart, and he's gone from 8th on the grid up to 2nd place. Lucas Auer, looking for his first podium of the season, goes 2nd. And that's a great story, because at the very beginning of the year, a huge crash in the IMSA Sports Car Championship at Daytona, which left him hospitalised. He couldn't walk for a while. He had to have operations, damage to his vertebra, and enormous determination just to get himself back on the grid. He's been recovering. He's been on the back foot because he missed a lot of pre-season testing, but he's getting quicker and quicker and quicker, Lucas Auer. It's good to see him back up there. but Thomas Preining will be a bit miffed by that restart, and Frank Pereira, who's had a lively race with one thing or another. So Bortolotti builds the lead back out to over a second. Auer in second, Preining in third, Feller fourth, Olsen fifth, Wittmann in sixth place, and Kelvin van der Linde continuing to rise up the order, trying to be ahead of Maro Engel now if he can, which he does just about. I think he's going to go into 10th place with this move and whips it around the outside of Maro, and the two former Nürburgring 24-hour race winners are going into battle once again, but it is the Audi that comes out on top. Red mist here for Kelvin van der Linde, just absolutely going for it. Matteo Drudi is going well in this race as well. He's up into the points, into the top 15, getting ahead of Max Paul there for 12th place. Into the closing 3 minutes or so of the race, plus 1 lap. The gap between the leaders is starting to come down a little bit here. Look at the graphic. That is a second gained over the last 3 laps by Lucas Auer, and he's got the gap down to less than a second now, and that's Kelvin van der Linde on the attack once again, and another place gained as he moves ahead of Thierry Vermeulen up to 9th position now. Remember, he was absolutely stone last at the end of the first lap of the race. It's been a great drive back through the order, but what might have been had he just been there up the front of the field to begin with. Final few corners then for Mirko Bortolotti. He goes through the chicane. He has been brilliant this weekend. Fastest on Friday, fastest on Saturday morning in qualifying. And he's going to be a race winner for the first time in the DTM. A maiden victory awaits for Mirko Bortolotti. He's going to take the checkered flag to become the 7th different race winner of the season.
Yes, mate. We fucking did it. Congrats, Mirko, to your first DTM victory.
Oh, yes, guys. Thank you, guys.
Joy and relief all rolled into one. An ecstasy down at the SSR Performance Garage. You think they just won the championship? Well, a very big step towards certainly attacking for that championship fight. Look at the joy, the release of exhilaration there. What a team effort that was. They are thoroughly deserving race winners, and Mirko Bortolotti has just made history as well, because in nearly 40 years of DTM, we've never had 7 different winners from the first 7 races. All they've got to do now is try and get out of the cars without damaging them as they clash doors here. Thomas Preining, I think, got out the wrong side of the car. Bortolotti squeezes out like they're in the middle of a multi-storey car park, but he won't care one jot as he leaps up onto the top of the car, raises his arms aloft, and celebrates his first win in the DTM. This is 2nd season of the championship. Championship leader for much of 2022. Finished 4th in the points in the end. But after this result, he's back from 6th place in the championship all the way up to 2nd position in the points table.
This year the season started really in a tough way, especially on my end of the garage. So, yeah, we never gave up. We kept working. I need to thank SSR Performance. They did a fantastic job. Everybody, Lamborghini, and just a special day for us.
And a magnificent day for this man. Lucas Auer returns to the podium. It's his 21st career DTM podium, and the champagne will have never tasted sweeter after everything he's been through.
Today was really important, no mistakes, staying calm. It was really difficult with the rain, so today a bit calmer was the right way.
And a great result as well for Thomas Preining, 3rd place and extending his championship lead.
Honestly, it feels a bit like a win. I mean, we still had obviously the 20 kilos from Nürburgring, so I thought realistically we're going to probably finish around P6. So getting another podium and such a good result, a lot of points, is obviously super great.
So confirmation of the race 1 results. Round 7 of the championship goes the way of Mirko Bortolotti. Lucas Auer and Thomas Preining, the Austrians, 2nd and 3rd, join him on the podium. Ricardo Feller, another good result, more good points in 4th. Dennis Olsen in 5th. Likewise, Marco Wittmann up to 6th place. Shelton van der Linde with a good drive through from the middle of the pack to get up to 7th place, and a good comeback as well, of course, from his brother Kelvin van der Linde. Others there up in the points, and first points in DTM for Max Paul there in 13th place. Lukas Stoltz also recovering into the points in 15th place. Jack Aitken unlucky when he made his pit stop, had to come in and out to change tyres a couple of times, so from 5th on the grid ended up back in 22nd position. And of course out of the race those including Ingen Nguyen and Christian Engelhardt after that big crash. David Odonka presenting the trophies then, and the trophy going for 3rd place man Thomas Preining. Another podium, his 4th of the season, to extend his lead in the championship now to 18 points. And that just leaves time for the celebrations of the champagne on the podium here at the Nürburgring. So a fantastic race, rain affected, just enough to mix things up. Tricky conditions for the teams, tricky conditions for the drivers, and well done to all of those that made it through. They'll celebrate, they'll enjoy the moment, but the job is only half done. Another race to come tomorrow, another qualifying session to come tomorrow, after which we'll be at the halfway stage in the championship. Massive congratulations then to our top 3, Mirko Bortolotti, Lukas Sauer and Thomas Preining. Great spectator action at the Nürburgring. The fans were able to experience their favourite cars up close for the first time at the track safari. Good preparation for a race is essential in the DTM. 4 drivers had the opportunity of a very special training session before the weekend. Dennis Olsen, Lukas Stoltz, Patrick Niederhauser and Clement Schmidt completed a driving safety training course under very special conditions.
Today was more about slow driving and have control about the car. We did like a balance act with the car on a parkour, which was quite a lot of fun. So it was not about driving fast today, it was more about safety and everything else.
So safety first was the motto for a quartet that normally only knows full throttle.
This was fully on the edge. The balancing ball was definitely challenging. This is something we don't do so often. And I have to say the ball was moving quite easily, but I think we managed well.
The most skillful Audi driver Patrick Niederhauser, who won the balance challenge.
Finally quick. I mean, with these guys it's always fun. We're going to be enemies on track, but off track we're still having a good time together.
The cleverest Lamborghini driver Clement Schmidt, who provided wet cooling in the drift challenge.
With such a funny preparation, it can be only a very good weekend.
So we're curious to see who will get whom wet out on the racetrack.
Speaking of water, it is starting to rain here and we're just about to commence the second race, and look at this, grey sky, a lot of rain, so it's going to be a very exciting race, that's for sure. So let's do it. It's race number 2.
So we've had some rain around the area, more is forecast. It's going to be a damp start to the race. And what about this? David Schumacher qualified 4th, he's been promoted to 3rd on the grid due to a penalty for Jack Aitken, his best ever starting position in the DTM. Starting in 2nd place and on the front row of the grid, the driver that's 2nd in the championship standings, Sheldon van der Linde. And just in front of him, the first driver to get a double pole position this season, Ricardo Feller, starts this race from pole position. A terrific effort from the Swiss driver in the Abt Sportsline Audi. He's had 2 pole positions in the DTM so far in his career. He won both races.
You're starting in pole position, and obviously it's a huge gamble with the tires, slicks or wet. So what do you think is at the moment the decision?
I cannot tell you. If we look here, for sure we should drive slicks, but now, like you just said, it starts to rain, and if I look to the sky, it will not be better soon.
It's going to be difficult to predict this one. Here's how they shape up then for round 8 of the championship. Ricardo Feller, his second pole position of the season. Sheldon van der Linde alongside David Schumacher with his best start in DTM. Third on the grid, Lucas Auer starting fourth. Marco Wittmann is fifth on the grid. Jack Aitken qualified third, but a three-place grid penalty puts him back to sixth. Maro Engel and Dennis Olsen share the fourth row of the grid. And then to complete the top 10, it's Tim Heinemann and Kelvin van der Linde. So the Start Your Engines board is held aloft. Parts of the track dry, parts of the track damp. Are you going to go for wet tyres or dries? And I'm afraid Mirko Bortolotti, the hero of Saturday, a race winner for the first time in the DTM, is going to miss the start of the race. He had problems with the car in qualifying. He was due to start from the pit lane after failing to set a lap time, but they cannot get the car fixed, so he is already out. The car's heading off onto 2 formation laps and a chance for them to get an eye in. Mirko Bortolotti, though, is going to be a spectator. But Marco Wittmann come in on the formation lap to change from wet to slick tyres. Ricardo Feller is on pole position. We think he's on the wet tyre. Alongside him, Sheldon van der Linde may have gone with a slick tyre. It's going to be a mixture of compounds out there. We're about to find out how it all unfolds because the red lights are about to turn green and 60 minutes plus 1 lap of race action is about to get underway here at the Nürburgring. Race 2 is go. Great start from Ricardo Feller. He's got Sheldon van der Linde alongside him. David Schumacher's up the inside as well, battling wheel to wheel with Lucas Auer as they come into the first corner. Sheldon van der Linde is out wide. It's going to be Feller in the lead of the race. It's going to be tight for second. And oh no, Kelvin van der Linde is off and sent into a spin at turn 1 for the second day running. I think there was contact with Dennis Olsen. There was another car on the inside as well. And that is more rotten luck for Kelvin van der Linde. In the background, you can see the green EMA Porsche, the Manthey EMA Porsche of Dennis Olsen. He's walking wounded. That was involved in that turn 1 crash. I think he's headed for the pits. And David Schumacher is there in second place. Third position, Lucas Auer on the podium for the first time this season in the race yesterday. Can he get another top result here to get himself into the championship fight? On board with Thomas Preining, the championship leader, 16th on the grid. He's trying to come from his worst starting position of the season. He's been in the points in every single race so far, but he's got his work cut out today. What a great start, though, for Ricardo Feller in the lead of the race from David Schumacher. And Sheldon van der Linde, look, he's absolutely slipping and tumbling down the order. He's down into around about 10th place now in the red Schubert BMW. So I think on the slick tyre, struggling at the moment, losing another place on the way into the chicane. Lauren Heinrich now ahead of him, so Sheldon van der Linde from second on the grid. He's all the way down in 11th spot.
We were the only one on slick tyres with Reine at the beginning. For me, a bit too much risk from P2 on the grid. We don't need to take that kind of risk. If everyone around you is on wet, it's a bit, yeah. So we need to discuss with the team, but it's obviously not great. We lost a lot of points today.
So let's have a look at some replays of the race start. Sheldon van der Linde on the outside. 1 or 2 bustling for position. There was that contact with Kelvin van der Linde. He was on the outside of Dennis Olsen, but I think Dennis was hit on the right-hand side by Tim Heinemann's Porsche. You can't really see it from that angle, but on the outside there, Kelvin van der Linde was the most exposed, and he was the one sent out into a spin. Here's the rear-facing camera from the Ferrari, and you can just see to the left of the picture there, Olsen being squeezed wide. Yeah, Heinemann was involved. He actually made up some places as a result, but of course Kelvin van der Linde tumbling to the back of the field as a result of that. So have to try and come from the back of the field for the second race. Running on, off wide and out onto the mud goes Matthias Drudi in the Abt Racing Audi, and it's very, very muddy and slippery off the racing line as well. So he did well actually to get the car back on track. This is looking back from Sheldon van der Linde. Thierry Vermeulen trying to get past him, and look, Lucas Auer has shot past Ricardo Feller and into the lead of the race all of a sudden. So Feller was through the last checkpoint about 0.8 of a second clear, and the rain has definitely started to come down more. So I get the feeling that Ricardo Feller has had a moment somewhere to suddenly drop into the clutches and then behind Lucas Auer. So we've got a new race leader. Could this be a fairy tale weekend for Lucas Auer with his first podium of the season, and then maybe a race victory as well? And out wide onto the dust goes Ricardo Feller, coming out onto the start-finish straight, and alongside him and on the inside line to the left of your picture is David Schumacher. We ride on board with the young German now. He's driving terrifically today, and he's going to be second again. back ahead of Ricardo Feller. So back into second place. He's got the inside line for the left-hand run through turns 2 and 3. And look behind, Tim Heinemann absolutely charging through the order here. The driver that was leading the championship after the first weekend at Oschersleben. So Schumacher second, side by side for third. Ricardo Feller is on the outside. Has he got time to get back up the inside? No, he hasn't. And so down to fourth place in the space of about a minute and a half from first to fourth for Ricardo Feller. And look at that, Luca Exler from a long way down the order. The Liqui Moly Audi is up into fifth place as well, having a terrific run through the field, so quite possibly he's gone with the wet tyre. We'll see those on slicks really beginning to struggle now, including, look, Sheldon van der Linde goes deep into the hairpin at turn 5. He's out of the points at the moment, down in 16th place. This is the battle for 7th place. Jack Aitken in the Ferrari to the inside. Lauren Heinrich, and straight on onto the mud, onto the wet grass goes the Ferrari of the British driver. He comes to a halt, can't find the gap in the barriers, so he's going to have to try and select reverse gear now, reverse his way off the mud and somehow get back onto the track. He's done so, but it's taken a while, and he's right at the back of the field. A weekend that promised a lot for Jack Aitken. He's had not much luck, and the weather has really played havoc with his results this weekend. Look at this battle in the background here. Lukas Stoltz is getting involved in it. He's going toe-to-toe here with Lauren Heinrich, but Heinrich gains another position. Through he goes. He's the reigning Porsche Carrera Cup Germany champion, coming into the DTM for the first time, and he's looking for his first podium of the season. The way he's going, he might just do it today. Tim Heinemann then versus David Schumacher, and Heinemann's crept through, look, so he gets the position on the way through the Mercedes Arena complex at the start of the lap to go to second place. Schumacher down to third. He's been second or third and switching around all the way through this race so far, but he's hanging on in there, looking for his best result in the DTM. So a replay on board with Schumacher. This is how it looked from his perspective. The battle for second place. Heinemann creeping up the inside on the way into turn 2. Schumacher tries to stay high and tries to get the inside line for the right-hander at turn 4, but he can't do anything about the Porsche coming through, and Heinemann is second. Right, we're into the pit stop window, and in comes the pole sitter, Ricardo Feller. Slicks off, wet tyres on. It's getting wetter and wetter and wetter out there. So treaded tyres, I think, the only option.
Some cars are changing now to wet tyres. Some cars are changing now to wet tyres. So we are on the right strategy, man. Let's keep pushing. Very good job. Keep managing the tyres.
So Lucas Auer's team radio there. He started the race on wets. Schumacher comes in. He started the race on wets as well. So new Pirellis go on. Schumacher doing an excellent job here. Been in the points so far this season. He's not yet had a top 10 in the DTM, and he certainly hasn't had a podium. It's his second season, not just in the DTM, but of GT racing, and he's learning quickly. He's had a bit of a rough time of it of late. Been picking up a number of penalties in the races, but he was absolutely superb in the damp qualifying this morning. Oh, replay though. Schumacher running wide at turn 11, just kisses the gravel. That's going to drop him back. This is Jack Aitken trying to come through and unlap himself. Jack has been off the road, and Schumacher losing critical time there. But look how wet it has suddenly become. Here's team radio from the race leader. Doing a fantastic job, Lucas Auer, the Austrian. Huge injury to him at the start of the year. He missed a lot of pre-season testing. He's feeling fit now, but the team and he have been on the back foot all year long, but the results are getting better and better with every round, every race. And with the number of the top 10 in the championship in trouble this weekend, he might well creep up the championship table. Now look at this, Thomas Preining has come in, front bumper loose. Could that be an issue? We only noticed that when he came into the car stopped, because wind flow is actually pushing the bumper in place, so he might just get away with this. Preining doing well at the moment, coming up the order from the 8th row of the grid, the championship leader. Right, the race leader, Lucas Auer, is in. Maximilian Powell in second place for the Grasser Racing team, coming in as well. And he's in the mix here for a podium finish. A guest starter. It's only his 4th start in the DTM. Didn't know he was going to be here until about a week and a half ago. So a race between the pit crews now. Heinrich has come in as well. We've got a full course yellow, so this is ideal for the top three. They're not really losing any time to the pack, and they should remain the top three. Lucas Auer gets out ahead of Maximilian Powell. Then Lauren Heinrich. We've still got Thierry Vermeulen to come in, and he'll be the last one. And Thierry's going to leapfrog up the order as well. So out they come. Lucas Auer to a clear track. We're into full course yellows with a car off the road at the moment. So perfect. That works out perfectly for Lucas Auer. Maximilian Powell there. And that's the reason we've got the full course yellow. Alessio De Leda has gone off the road at turn 1 and he's having to be recovered in the Lamborghini. And this is what he did. Oh, he's on the white line there on the pit lane exit mark. So that unsettled the car. Very slippy on the paint. And he just lost it. Aquaplaned and understeered off into a spin on the way into turn 1. Thierry Vermeulen has made his pit stop. Everybody's been in now. It's under investigation in terms of whether he got in time for the pit window. If so, Thierry is going to be on course for another top 10 finish. He's second in as many days. We're into the final quarter of the race. Look how bad the visibility is becoming here. Some key favourites like René Rast, Sheldon van der Linde, Kelvin van der Linde out of the points down the order and a lap down at the moment. Marco Wittmann likewise. This is the battle for the lead of the race, and Maximilian Powell is hunting down Lucas Auer. The gap has been coming down and down over the last lap or so. 14 minutes and a half plus 1 lap to go. Could this be a dream result for Maximilian Powell and Gottfried Grassler's team? He looks to the inside on the way into the final corner at the Coca-Cola curve. Lucas Auer has started to struggle on his new tyres, so maybe they're not quite working as well as that first set. Certainly, it's a lot wetter than it was before that pit window, and it looks like the car is twitching and moving and dancing around a lot more than it was previously. So Lucas is really having to fight the car. Definitely Maximilian Powell in the Lamborghini is the quicker of the two at the moment. Door opens up invitingly on the way into turn 2. Lucas Auer, the Austrian, holds off the German driver behind him, who's in an Austrian-run car from Grasser Racing Team. Door opens up again on the way into turn number 3, but Lucas Auer just about closes it in time. To the right-hander they go at turn 4. The Lamborghini seems to have far more traction at the moment, and Maximilian Powell gets right behind the rear wing of Lucas Auer, but Lucas is going to just about fend him off. Under braking on the way into turn 5, the hairpin where they come off the Grand Prix circuit. Accelerate now, this really quick middle sector of the lap where these cars are going to be very skittish in these conditions. I shouldn't imagine that Maximilian Powell has got any kind of vision or visibility there with all the spray that's coming off the back of the Mercedes. Remember also, although he's raced a Lamborghini before, he's not raced with this team, he's not raced that particular car, and he's never driven it in the wet until this race. And here he is going for a race win in the closing stages here at the Nürburgring. Lights ablaze as they make their way into the Vidal chicane. It's almost a case of when rather than if for Maximilian Powell. No dramas for Thierry Vermeulen's pit window. He made it in time, so he's very much on course for a top 10 finish. 8th place be his best results for the young Dutch driver, who's been impressive this weekend. Best weekend for him in the DTM. Meanwhile, the battle for the lead continues. Lauren Heinrich is in 3rd place, looking good for his first podium of the season. These two hold each other up. He might just get involved in this battle as well. He's not that far behind, and he's consistently quicker through the sectors at the moment. That might be a key in pushing Maximilian Powell to go for a move, because he does not want that Porsche breathing down his neck. He wants to get past Lucas Auer as quickly as possible. Auer takes a wide line once again into turn 3, and here we go for the lead of the race. Maximilian Powell alongside, but a right-hander coming up at turn 4. Lucas Auer fends him off once again. Brilliant driving, but now on the exit to the turn, he's got his foot in the door. He's almost alongside, but critically he's on the racing line, and Maximilian Powell dives down the inside on the way into turn 5 to become the race leader. Incredible. Now, if it stays like this, he's going to be the 8th different winner from 8 races. We already broke the record yesterday with 7 different winners from the first 7 races. What a season this is turning into. Halfway stage of the championship after this. The second half of the season is anywhere near as good as the first half. we're all in for a massive treat. But look how quickly the Lamborghini has pulled away from the Mercedes. Auer is definitely beginning to struggle. It looks good for Maximilian Powell. He's off into the distance, building an advantage, clearly reveling in the conditions. The battle for second is the next one to watch because Lauren Heinrich, look, has been bringing the gap down. Just over 5 minutes to go. Lucas Auer trying to hold on to second place here. Again, he leaves the door open on the way into turn 3 and nibbling up the inside. Here is Lauren Heinrich side by side on the way to the right-hander at turn 4. Once again, though, gutsy driving from Lucas Auer, who fends him off. Whoa, almost into the back of the Mercedes. There goes Lauren Heinrich, the young German charge, weaving around in the mirrors. There's no gap up the inside on the way into turn 5, so he goes out wide. He'll try and cut back on the exit. There is a left-hander coming up. He got better traction. He's got his nose in front. He's got the racing light, and he's into second place. Terrific move that, which he set up a couple of corners before. And Lauren Heinrich now gets himself up to second place, on course for his first podium in the DTM. Can he do anything about the race leader? Probably not.
Come on now, go for it. Be clever, be clever. No rush, 5 minutes to go.
So Maro Engel being told, don't panic, be clever, be smart, but you are quicker, you are closing the gap. Could be on for a podium. Oh no! Arjun Miney, who's already been in the wars in this race, had got himself back into the points. He's gone off the road at turn 5. So yellow's there at the moment. A replay, yeah, just locked up, went straight on and fairly gently into the barriers, but he's stuck in a precarious position. And the safety car has been deployed. Stressful times for Maximilian Powell. His big advantage that he's already built up is going to be wiped out now with the safety car being deployed. Out comes the safety car. Maximilian Powell, Lauren Heinrich and Lucas Auer, the top 3. Maro Engel hunting down Lucas Auer in 4th place. Oh, but the message comes up that the race is going to finish behind the safety car. There's Gottfried Grasser, the GRT team boss. He's about to become a team-winning boss here at the Nürburgring.
The second stint after a pit stop, didn't manage to switch on the tires. I had no grip, basically. I was going sideways in order to hopefully to get some temperature, but was not enough, and at the end P3 was good.
So the safety car peels in, and it's going to be a sprint to the line, but there's no overtaking allowed, so there's no stress. Maximilian Powell, unbelievably, is about to become a race winner in the DTM as he takes the checkered flag.
You're a DTM winner! I cannot believe it! Yes! We need them all! Everyone! Thank you so much! Thank you, Gottfried! No words, no words, no words. Insane drive, insane drive.
Sheer ecstasy for Maximilian Powell and the GRT team. They win at the Nürburgring. Lauren Heinrich in second, Lucas Auer in third. Maro Engel continues his run of finishing in the points in every race. He's fourth. Thomas Preining will be pleased with fifth. From his grid position, he'll extend his championship lead. A bad day at the office, though, for the likes of Marco Wittmann, Sheldon van der Linde, Jack Aitken, René Rast and Kelvin van der Linde, all out of the points in the rain at the Nürburgring. And you have to feel for Mirko Bortolotti. Having won on Saturday, he never even got to take the race start on Sunday. So dramatic scenes here at the Nürburgring. The top 3 have made their way in, and about to clamber out of the car is the 8th different race winner of the season. Absolutely brilliant performance in the wet conditions. The team come to greet him. What a great day for them as well. Lucas Auer getting out of the car to the right. And, well, the family, dad, everybody absolutely thrilled. A terrific day as well for Lauren Heinrich in second place, his first DTM podium.
Yeah, I'm over the moon to be on my first DTM podium. It's a dream come true. Exactly yesterday, this exact situation, it cost me a potential podium with a full course yellow in the pit stop window. Today we used it to our advantage and to make the day perfect with a P2.
The German national anthem plays at the Nürburgring. What a proud moment. What a dream day for Maximilian Paul. There's not a dry eye in the house, and it's got nothing to do with the rain. Brilliant performance from your race winner, Maximilian Paul. Let's hope we're going to see more of him across the course of the season.
Winning in the DTM is something really, really special, and I think a lot of people would wish to do that. It was just amazing. I had a really good start, just got a nice spot. Very happy that we caught P1 after the pit stop, and yeah, now time to celebrate.
So, big celebrations on the podium here at the Nürburgring. Well done as well to Lucas Auer. 2 podiums, he scored more points than anybody else this weekend to propel himself up the championship table and potentially into the championship fight going into the second half of the 2023 season. Gottfried Grasser, soaking wet, he couldn't care less. His team, his driver, race winners in the DTM. But a good day after a bad start in qualifying for Thomas Preining, who finished in 5th place to extend his championship lead.
The goal was clear since the beginning. It's still the same one. It just means that we are on the right path. We're getting closer. But it's DTM, everything is super close and super tight, so any moment things can go the opposite way, and then you're chasing and not the one being chased.
8 races down, 8 races to go, and this is how the championship table looks. 117 points for Thomas Preining, extending his championship advantage this weekend to 28 points over Sheldon van der Linde, who's just 1 point clear now of Mirko Bortolotti in 3rd and Ricardo Feller in 4th.
That certainly was a crazy race weekend here at the Nürburgring. So much action we saw, and now we're looking forward to the next race weekend, which will be at the Lausitzring. So see you then. Bye-bye.